about him, and he doesn't want to brag about himself. As I was explaining yesterday, the broad term martial arts, Alan encompasses that entire broad term. He began this, I think, back 95, 96, 97, and was really into it, really involved. Fought against a lot of the large name guys in the lower belts, blue, purple belt. Could have went a route towards MMA, and then 9/11 happened. And Alan spent 8 years hunting bad guys as a special operations, a tier 1 Green Beret operator. And then when he returned, he was kind of aimless a bit. And he began a thing that helps veterans recover from and reintegrate back. And the jiu-jitsu, of course, as you guys all know, especially here, is one of those welcoming, bonding, touch each other environments. He also brought that message over to England and inspired them, but to also help their boys over there. And the last thing I'm going to say about Alan is this: integrity. Alan has what I call stress-tested integrity. We all think we have that until we're under stress. What is integrity? That's a mindfulness of truth in whatever you do and whomever you meet. And Alan embodies that. With that, Alan Shebaro.
Thank you. Always. This is my first time being able to attend one of the Globetrotters camps. Fortunate enough to be able to teach. My way of teaching is pretty much different than most. Not that I'm saying I'm any better, it's just different. Everyone's heard about like how the characteristics and the association, the similarities, human chess. You know, they associate chess to jiu-jitsu, right? Human chess. I found this very interesting. According to the America's Foundation for Chess, there's 169 centillion, 687 nintillion, 547 octillion, 642 septillion, 221 sextillion, or quintillion, 142 quadrillion, trillion, billion, million, first 10 moves. Keep that in mind. And also, it's one of those games where there are rules, set rules, where white goes first, black goes second, limitations on the movements of these players, right? Now, in jiu-jitsu, we have very similar things. The only problem is that no one ever slaps hands and goes, I'm going first, you're doing the one move, I'm doing the one move. They might have 3 or 4 or 2 and 2 or 2 and 5. So now take that number and multiply it by, I don't even know how much depending on your ability, right? So my main principles that I like to do is to be able to make sure that I teach the concept and the principles. And what I tell all my athletes is that every time you step on the mat and try to learn, understand the concept, what you're trying to do, familiarization of the position, and that I'll go actually explain when we're actually starting. That's why I can actually split this. And the general mechanics. I'm not here to actually teach how to do things per se. I always teach how the players move and how the mechanics work. Other than that, I feel I'm more of a guide than anything else. And I always encourage greatly the individual growth into their own path. The injuries in the background that I have, and that you have, entirely different. That's one thing I found beautiful about the sport, is that it is an art. But I won't keep calling it arte suave, right? The gentle art. You're with the right people, it ain't so gentle. So, you're an empty canvas, you're the artist. You can make what kind of art you want. You want it smooth, it's up to you. You want it, super technical, it's up to you. You want it barbaric, that's up to you. That's the beauty of this. And going into that, there's so many different variables. You can drill over and over and over and over again. Some schools truly believe in it, and that's a way of doing it. According to the Army, I was in the Army a long time, a lot of my metaphors and analogies come from that. In 2004, they did a statistic on muscle memory. And this is a 4-point movement to come from the draw, releasing from the holster, getting it to the chest and extending out, and making your presentation shots. 4 movements, how long it took, and how many repetitions it took for it to be muscle memory. The average person, 3,000. 3,000. So, I teach you Toriando pass. You do it 3,000 times. Right? You got it down, muscle memory. You go to try it out. Now all of a sudden, puts an arm out. Guess what? That's another 3,000 you have to get because you have to pass that arm. Then what? He puts up the other arm. Guess what? Another 3,000. So for that one move, there can be countless variables. The what if people is mainly for you. Countless amount of variables. So in order for you to actually master everything in every technique, for it to be muscle memory, you have to practice this art for a little over 600 years. Unless you understand the concept, familiarization with the position, and the general mechanics. Variables are going to happen. Environment's going to change. People are going to change. So with that being said, I'm going to start it with the takedowns. For one of the most common positions that are annoying as hell, other than pulling guard. Sorry for you guard pullers. The stiff arm. Right? Stiff arm, you get in there, you can't reach, nothing's happening, nothing's working. Right? So he grabs on, and I can't get inside. A wrestling background, wrestlers hate the gi, right? So he gets a stiff arm in there, I can't shoot in because he's holding on to the gi. Even if I get past him from here, he's still holding on. See, I stops that through. So from here, guys, a lot of it's strategy as well. The gi here, what I'm doing is I'm getting like that monster grip, okay? I want to use that hook. In judo, this is probably not the smartest idea, but I'm not a judoka, so it kind of works out. The other thing is, the weakest part is from the fingers, and then it gets stronger, stronger, until your core is the strongest. So we're always trying to attack the weakest point. Right now his fingers are hidden, they're tucked into the gi. Make sense? Here, the wrist is vulnerable, but it's super rigid. So we need to find a way to check that, okay? To make that fragile. As we're here, what I like to do on this one is actually just grab on from either the shoulder, because it's always going to be readily available. Try to shake it off, strip it. The more determined they are, the easier it's going to be. My chin, my shoulder, my traps can tuck in. So what I'm doing from here is I'm trying to shake it off. I check it to make sure it stays rigid in one spot. And what I'm doing, I'm going against the weakest part. And what I'm doing is anchoring my elbow and then pulling in. Now we have a fold in the wrist and a fold in the arm. We can close that distance. Make sense? So, as we're here, use that. There's two different options. Those who like the wrist locks. Once you have the shoulder, fold it in, control the elbow, and just tap through there. Those are for those who actually enjoy the prison rules. I think it's submission, it's legal, blue belt and above for the most stringent, the IBJJF. And I'm not sure about the other regulations here in Europe, but blue above and above. So let's say it's not allowed. What we're going to do is go in from here. Now, once I try to actually shake that off, it's not working. So I check the same thing. And what I'm doing, once I get that fold, now I'm actually getting close. Make sense? Now, I have the availability of the gi, so my fingers are going to go right inside, and I make sure this stays nice and tight. My grip is going to go in. Right now, my foot is behind. This foot is lead foot. So, it stays in from here, passing through on the wrist lock, pulling in. I have to create a bend because he won't let me get inside. So, I start anchoring through, using that shoulder, and I create that bend. Make sure this is locked down, arm shoots through, and grabs on. My foot, I just look right down, my foot is directly behind. All I'm going to do is extend my leg as far as I can, completely straight. My head is going to drive through onto his shoulder, and I'm going to drive him back because my foot's already behind. So as I'm here, locked down, my lead leg shoots through, and I maintain that control. The main reason why I like to hold on to this here, because they don't, even if it's not a submission, it's not the ability to tap him out, it's going to be extremely difficult and painful for him to try to power out with that one arm. Does that make sense? So, one more time. Try to shake that off. Can't. Use that shoulder to add a little bit more pressure onto the wrist to get the break. I'm just trying to get a fold in that arm. So as I'm here, there it is. So I can go through here, get the wrist lock if you like. Just a solid control, trapped in that pocket. If you're going just for the takedown, I'll maintain that same thing. I try to get as close as I can. I shoot my arm straight through it. Make sure that's tight. I look down, my foot's directly behind. So all I'm doing is extending my leg forward, my head's driving into the shoulder, and I go directly behind. I'm not trying to stand, I am going down. So extend your leg far, right behind. I'm not trying to hook, I'm just extending. I'm driving in. Okay, I want to be able to stay on top in a firm, solid manner with control. Questions on that? That's a tough fucking crowd. Yes?
One of the keys to the technique was you said you are creating a bend in the elbow. So
Yes.
what is your best tip for how to create that bend? Is it with movement?
So as I'm here, the pressure is relieving on the wrist. It's just that. I'm moving myself in so I'm getting closer. Now I'm going to reach straight through and grab. Questions, guys? Good to go? All right, guys, hands up, go. Up. We start going. Oh shit, judo. So, but I don't use. I've been training judo for about 6 years. Been training wrestling for about 8 years. But I don't know the rules of either one. I just trained it just for jiu-jitsu. So I don't think any of these grips, where's my chin? Any of these grips are illegal in judo. What I just did, is that mean illegal? What's going on in judo? Yeah. So don't try this in judo. It's illegal. This is for jiu-jitsu though. Okay? So now, someone gets smart. So once I have that stiff armor and I can't get myself inside, I'm trying to shake that off, right? And I start getting that fold, they realize their hands are going to be in trouble. So they release and try to pull out. So what I'm doing is I pull myself in. Okay? From here, guys, if my leg, now let's go in front, right? So right there. If my leg's in front, all I'm doing, guys, if I can't grab onto the belt, great. But all I'm doing is extending my leg almost the exact same way. Now I can see the path to that leg. This one's not in front. So the hand, right, that I first attacked with the wrist, I'm bringing this to her ankle. As soon as I reach the ankle, I release and I grab. So, same thing. I start shaking it, start threatening that wrist. They pull out. Bring yourself in, grab onto that gi. So you know something's going to happen behind, that leg steps behind. So now this leg, all I'm going to do is dig my heel in, create like a golf club, right, or a hockey stick, whatever analogy you like. My arm that has control of the wrist, I'm going to bring it to the ankle. All I'm doing is once I reach, I grab onto the ankle and I keep driving forward. You want to see it again? Yeah. Y'all don't like it, do you? So I try to shake it off, same thing. Boom. Okay? If that doesn't happen, I make myself in. Look, she created distance again. So all I'm doing is, that leg is going to make itself way almost exactly the same way, extending it out. My heel goes behind, my toes turn in, hooking. I'm not hooking like this, just like that. I'm bringing this hand all the way to the ankle. Once I reach the ankle, I can release and grab. So I'm just grabbing off of here, shoot in. Once I can reach the ankle, release, grab, keep driving through. Good to go, guys. All right, and up, go. Speed, surprise, violence of action. All right, this is not ballet or yoga. You're trying to bring someone to the point where they can't take the pain, so they have to tell you to stop. Always keep that in mind. This is a combat sport. So a lot of the guys that are going through here that have problems trying to get that entry because the leg was still in the way. Guys, if I know that my wrist is in trouble, I'm stepping back. I'm using my hip to retract my arm. That creates that initial opening. But guess what? Let's say I don't have that. My leg's behind. His arm's still trapped. Where can I go?
First one.
Yeah, go back to the first one. Right? So, who's a wrestler here? Anybody? Anyone wrestle? Bullshit. Nobody? Alright, good. You don't have anything to grab onto, right? So what? Yeah. First thing in control is what? They're trying to get control of the head. Who knows how to get rid of that? Shoulder, right? So, if someone's anchored down, you're going to move your shoulder, right? Come here. Go ahead. Not that easy, right? Guys, so do you know anything else other than that?
On the neck.
Other than that?
Clenching your arm clear.
Yeah, I wouldn't suggest that either. So if you're going here, you're exposing what? Yeah, your entire side, right?
Yeah.
Guys, who does not know? Raise your hand. Be proud of it. I don't know. Say it. I don't know. That's the freaking answer. I don't know. Grab. Grab. All I'm doing is shrugging, making everything tight. Just think, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. Shrug. I don't know. It's trapping it. And I'm not turning my entire body. Okay? Don't be ridiculous about it. It's just a quick, violent shrug, tap. Stay in so they can't re-grab it. What I started getting the habit of doing, is especially for the no-gi guys, right? I had this guy that was about 6'4", 6'5", in the absolute division. I'm like, oh crap. And so I'm like looking up at him going, and the guy had really long arms too, so he was like protecting his legs with his arm. So I was worried about getting guillotined, so I just started doing this the whole time in. And I was actually able to get inside because I defended it from the very beginning. So I would actually suggest that very strongly. Go ahead. It's much harder to grab a hold of it if you're already defending it. So the number one defense is prevention. Don't let them get a hold of your friggin' neck. If they do, they're going to sling you around. Okay, there's this guy that I trained with. He started wrestling in Iowa, which is one of the top places to wrestle from the age of 6 through elementary school, high school, college. He's 6'2" and a brown belt in jiu-jitsu and 380 pounds. Guys, the guy can move. He gets a hold of your neck, you're done. So again, my rule, I don't let him get a hold of it. I don't know what to do, guys. I don't know. If he does get a hold of it, okay, especially when they start cranking down on it, I don't know, shake it off. Now, notice where my hands are, right? I'm prepping it, I'm prepping it, I'm prepping it. He grabs a hold, shrug, right? Catch. Same thing, shrug, I don't know. I'm churning it and catching, okay? Now you're gonna have those guys that have like super long freaking fingers, right? So you're gonna turn, 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 and you're just not gonna let go. Guys, from here, don't keep turning. If you can't see your opponent, okay, you're done. Only turn so far that you can see your opponent, and then your hand can actually start working a peel, because now the wrist is bent, kind of like the one we did in gi, very similar. So as you hear, and I try to turn, but I can't get rid of it, my hand that's prepping only has to travel so far, and I strip. And one box, uppercut, right? Same thing, shrug, I don't know, turn, I can't do anything, I peel, uppercut. Make sense? That too much?
No, it makes sense.
Good to go. Yes, sir.
You drop the wrist at the beginning?
I'm sorry?
Why would you drop the wrist at the beginning?
From the beginning, right from the get-go.
Because he doesn't have a gi on. Are you talking about grabbing it before he grabs my neck?
No, right when he goes for the neck.
Grabbing it now?
Yes, no.
Oh, no. No. Yeah. Again, I don't know him. I don't even know your name. And we didn't practice this out, and as soon as I reach for that, he knows exactly where to go. I'm giving up everything down here because there's nothing to grab onto. That's a monumental difference. He has nothing to grab onto, so you got to be very careful about where you're going, stances, and everything else. Okay? So yeah, you hear, boom, shrug, I don't know, prepping, uppercut. Just stop right there, and then we'll finish it off. Okay, guys? All right, guys, hands up, go! Hey guys, I'm trying to I show kind of like the highest percentage, the way it usually happens, in a way of handling it. By no means am I telling you guys to go up to Olympic trials in Iran or America and, you know, hey, bring it on. No, not in your case. Again, there's so many variables. Okay, and let's just start with 169 centillion. What if he does this? What if, yeah, there's so many what ifs on this, and keep in mind. To me, this is jiu-jitsu, okay? I cross-train and all these different things to make my jiu-jitsu better. All right, I highly and strongly suggest you don't do the same thing, okay? I don't believe in guard pulling. I don't understand the mentality. Believe it, this is my opinion. You know, how you're going to actually specialize in a ground sport but don't know how to take the guy to the ground. Doesn't make sense to me. There you are. All right, so we get through here, we're going to go through the exact same thing so you get more drills and reps in, okay? I shrug, I pop, and bring it in. There's going to be so many different variables, I promise. So from here, yes, there's a bunch of different ways of going about it. But what I want to do is lock them up. I don't have a gi, okay? So this is, Russian time, okay, variation of. What I'm going to be doing is make them kind of like a big sister with a big brother. Stop hitting yourself, right? So I'm going to make him hit himself. Ah! Stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself. And I lock it. Okay? Now, you want to deadbolt it. Okay? Get your lock first. Release and go underneath. And now make a hold. That's a nasty hold, guys. Okay? Now you pretty much have control. If I go down, he comes down with it. It just sucks. This is a great tie-up, okay? Very difficult to get a hold of, get rid of. Okay? So one more time, start from here. Okay? You get your strike, and I don't know, turn, catch, uppercut. I want him up. I want that possibility going down. Okay? Now, here, have control. Now, I need to lock it up. Oh, be that big brother, big sister, right? Stop hitting yourself. Bring it right to the belly. Lock it up. Stay tight. If you want a deadbolt, that's not good enough for you. You slip it right inside and lock it up. Just keep pulling. That make sense? Deadbolt? So from here. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a wrench forcing movement. Like I with this underneath me. It's really sucks. So one more time from here. Have that shrug. Punch in. Lock. If you want a deadbolt, underneath.
Doing anything specific to step in with an uppercut? I mean, obviously doing the right behind it, but are you trying to get, push your back out or keep your posture neutral?
So the main reason why he's locking up is to close the distance so he can start doing things. Okay? The worst case scenario, you have called bullheads. They'll even lock up and then put their head, their jawline, like try to almost like force you down. Okay? It sucks. What I'm trying to do is capitalize off that closing of the distance. When I lock up, I want to be nice and tight. I want to crowd him up, crowd his personal space, so that he can't maneuver very well. So as I'm here, I have that locked in. Where's my leg? See the similarities now? Same thing through here. But now, see what happens? So now look, he ain't moving that leg, so guess what I can do? Go back. He said, yeah, slick. One of the most common things is that arm comes to push my head away. Now, where does leg go? Ta-da! There's my Miyagi moment. Yeah, thank you. So again, start from here, guys. Shrug, bring through. Uppercut. Okay, make sure you have to cut first. And then you can go straight from here to locking it in. Hitting yourself. Lock it up or deadbolt it. The legs behind. Drive forward. Drive forward, gotta be aggressive. Right? The head comes over. He's trying to look right there. And he's trying to create distance. All I'm doing, guys, is I'm going down with it. He has to follow, especially with this. Make sense? Here we go. Hands up, let's go.